Hello, my other friends. How are you guys doing? Hopefully everyone's doing good. I am letting everybody in. Should be getting started here in the next probably 3 minutes or so. Is there anyone who's new here who's never been on one of my trainings? Nicole, nice to have you, Nicole. I saw her hand go up. Yeah, it's really cool if people turn their cameras on. Then I get to actually see who's here. Awesome. Look at David. David showed up. Jean-Claude, it's nice to see you, Jean-Claude. Yesterday you were just a black screen. It's great to see you. Awesome. Okay. Who's excited? I'm going to teach you guys a familiar sequence, but I'm renaming it for a very distinct reason. Um, okay, I'm going to go ahead. We're going to get started. So, where's my LOL peeps or my momentum peeps? Where y'all at? Um, did y'all see what I did for you guys this morning? I worked really hard. So, we'll make the $7 members super jealous. So I literally created a way for you guys to get every single piece of content that you need, including graphics for the entire ecosystem done in 10 minutes. And I shot a Loom video of me walking through. I built you only need 3 GPTs. And I literally sat there this morning and trained it on all of my stuff. I gave it all of my clients' scripts that I've written over the years for everything from start to finish. So if you're in Momentum, check out. I put it in the accountability club thread. And if you're in LOL, I dropped it in Voxer, the Voxer channel. So and by the way, LOL and Momentum, you guys know right after this call, we're going to jam on that other Zoom link and I'm going to help you guys implement what we're going to talk about today. Talking about retargeting today. So what we're going to actually talk about is my Hot 7 sequence. But here's the thing. After writing 3 books, I just finished Kiss My ROAS, by the way. That's going to be live here pretty soon. I'm probably going to keep it for my $7 program 7-year anniversary, which is going to be on September 7th in Dallas, Texas. And I've only booked a place to where we can have 50 people in the room. So it's invite only. But if you've been in my $7 program for a while, you're probably going to get an invite. Or if you're in LOL Momentum, obviously you're getting an invite. But what the reason behind me actually redoing this entire sequence is because I've learned a lot over the years, right? While my strategy has remained the same, there's certain little tactical things that have to change as more information comes in, right? How many of you guys really noticed that the market has changed a lot over the last, like even the year? And there are so many people who keep saying, well, my conversions are down. Conversions aren't actually down. Like if you look at the data, conversions aren't down. There was actually an example of this. I spoke at an event in Dallas around my birthday in April. And there were these guys who were like, yep, we were running funnels, conversions are down. And we all had the discussion about, well, is conversions down or are you looking at the wrong time frame? And when they zoomed out and looked at their time frame from a longer period of time, they had actually turned off a funnel that was bringing in 6 figures. But they were looking at it from a 30-day time frame instead of 60. So, my friends, conversions aren't down. Even though it seems like it, conversions are just taking longer. And if we look at the data, on average, it's about 62 to 67 days. And there are so many people who don't actually have a nurture sequence in place to actually provide enough nurture for 62 to 67 days. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we are staying in front of our audience. Otherwise, someone else is going to steal our clients, right? And so what I'm going to do today is I'm not going to go over the entire ecosystem, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of give a quick recap, right? But before I do that, I want to lay some ground rules. Inside the chat, I'm seeing all kinds of random ask questions that are not appropriate for this, right? And so I'm going to ask that as we're going through this training, we do not violate any of the 3 sens. For those of you guys who've been in my world or you've read my new book, R3OAS, by the way, if you haven't, go to r3oas.com/audio. I've provided a free audio version for you guys. There's 3 sens that you never want to break. 1, you don't want to be dull. What does that mean by being dull? And by the way, these are 3 rules you never want to break in anyone's program. Because if you want to get the most out of trainings like this, then you need to not violate these rules. Number 1 is don't be dull, right? If I am sitting here talking about my ecosystem and you're asking me questions about support, or you're asking me questions that have nothing to do with what we're talking about, you're being dull. It takes topics off, like it takes trainings off track, and it's just not a great, it's not a great situation, right? So don't be dull, right? 2, don't be distracted. If you come to this training and you're going through 5 other people's programs and you're trying to ask me questions on doing things that are outside of this ecosystem, that's not helping. You're distracted, right? If everyone just stayed focused, right, we would all get further. The last sin is being delusional. That is by far the worst sin to break, right? When people come into these programs and they have very unrealistic solutions, right? I always tell people, like, if you're going to work with me, I'm not going to tell you this shit's going to get done in 90 days. I'm going to tell you for the first 90 days, we are literally going to be blowing money, getting data. That's it. Like, if we have a win in 90 days, that's what happens, right? Because what a lot of you guys are doing is you're looking at things like this and you're like, if you just showed me the tactic, just show me the tactic. Like a lot of you guys right now are like, Laurel, just shut the fuck up and show us the sequence, right? But if you don't understand the principles behind why this sequence works so well, am I really teaching you guys anything? Are you really learning anything? Because here's the thing, my strategy is platform agnostic. And what does that mean? Like, it's not a Facebook ad strategy. It's not a YouTube ad strategy. It's not an Instagram strategy. By the way, this strategy that I'm going to teach you guys today can be done over email. It can be done in person. It can be done over direct messaging. It doesn't matter, right? So we always want to go into these trainings because here's what's happening is a lot of you guys have taken programs from other people who've never taught you guys how to learn. And so it's always my first job as a consultant to teach you guys, here's how to best use the information that you're given in this program. That's why I don't allow questions that are inappropriate. That's why I want everyone to stay on track. Deal? Is that those rules okay that we set those in place? That way everyone gets the best out of this training, right? Awesome. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to just give kind of an overview because I want you guys to see where this sequence takes place and why I've slightly tweaked it. So I'm going to grab my iPad. And if you guys have never been on one of my trainings, I am one of those trainers that does really well in a live setting. That's why a lot of my trainings are live, because I'm not one of those people that will sit there and pre-record something because I will just make shit up to not have to sit and record something. Anyone else like that? I'm like super high, like on the Kobe scale, quick start and implementer. I'm like, let's just roll up our sleeves and like get this shit done, right? So that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, Anna, great to see you. Yeah, Anna knows me. Anna has seen me get a little spicy with her, but you know, I do it coming from a place of love because I want everyone in the room to win. And I know that a lot of you guys who are sitting in the room have never been taught how to win at any of these programs. Like you've just been thrown tactics. And then when stuff changes, you don't know how to evolve your marketing and it just ends up being dead in the water, right? A lot of people are just teaching tactics and strategies and they're not teaching you guys the principles that are actually holding these strategies and tactics together. Like my clients during the iOS update and all of these Pixel updates, they were fine. They never had to pivot. Like I'm still selling the same thing 7 years later. I'm not screaming. And I've seen this in the news feed so much lately. Low tickets making a comeback. High tickets dead. Webinars, all of this shit. Low ticket offers have never gone away. High ticket offers have never gone away. But it's because people don't know how to adapt because they never took the time to learn marketing. They've just engulfed all of these tactics. And then when things change, they don't know how to adapt. And so I want to teach you guys how to adapt to the ever-changing landscape. So let me go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. And we can make this as interactive as possible. Just adhere by the rules. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So let's talk about what this ecosystem looks like and the misconceptions. I'm going to fly through this part because you guys should have gone through the onboarding stuff, but I'm going to just start from the beginning and we're going to fly through it. Okay. So one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about my ad strategy is that they think that it replaces a funnel, right? So you have your funnel here. It doesn't matter what type of funnel it is. It could be a one-page funnel, like it could be a sales page, but right here is where you have your offer, right? And you send cold traffic to it, right? People always assume that my ecosystem replaces what's going on here. It does not. What my ecosystem does is it plugs every possible hole in this offer or this funnel. So if you are a brick and mortar store, this might be come walk in and eat at my restaurant. There's a funnel process in that point, right? Like if you look at a funnel, I think a lot of people think of, oh, it's ClickFunnels or one of those physical funnel builders, right? A funnel is just literally a sales process, okay? So what my ecosystem actually does is plug the hole of a funnel. That's it. If people see a commercial on television and they don't go, that's a black hole. If people visit your landing page and they don't move forward, that's a black hole. Does that make sense? Okay. So I just want us to stop thinking of a funnel as like this physical thing. It's literally just a sales process. And so that's why my ecosystem works. Whether you have an e-commerce store, doesn't matter. Whether you are an insurance agent, it doesn't matter whether you want it, whether you have a laundromat. Like at my last Phoenix event, I literally created this ecosystem for a laundromat. So your business isn't special. Every single business that I have worked with, and we're talking hundreds, have utilized every single part of my ecosystem. Okay. So that's the first thing that you have to understand is that there's the funnel and then there's the ecosystem. Okay. Now, at every single step of a funnel, whether you're trying to get people through your door or whether you're trying to get people to opt in, there's a black hole. People see a commercial on television. They're like, oh, I'm not going to that restaurant. I'm going to go here. People visit a webinar funnel. They're like, oh, I see that landing page, but I don't really have time to watch that webinar, right? Doesn't mean that these people are not your ideal clients. And so a lot of times what people do is they just completely forget about the people who visited their landing page. They're like, well, they're not my ideal clients. Couldn't be furthest from the truth. Because at any given time, guys, there's 2 to 3% of people who are ready to buy what you have right now. And then there's 97 to 98% of people who are not, but they are still your ideal clients. And most internet marketers are completely ignoring this pocket of people right here. The ecosystem is built to convert those people. Okay. A funnel is built to convert the 2 to 3% of people who are ready to buy right now. So if you are running ads to a funnel and you're paying conversion costs, it's high, right? And that is why people are constantly struggling to keep people in their funnel. Ad costs are going up. The more people are running ads, Ty Lopez said 100,000 new digital businesses are coming online every single day. 100,000. That is a lot of competition. So obviously ad costs are going to go up. And if you're trying to chase the 2 to 3% of people ready to buy now, that's why you're having to refresh your creative. That's why you're having to change your funnel, having to change your offer, right? Because you're not taking into account that you're chasing the highest quality that Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, LinkedIn, doesn't matter the platform. You're chasing the highest quality audience that those platforms have. But there's another way that we can at all times get served up these 2 to 3% at a much lower cost. That's what we're going to go over today, because as of right now, my business is around $4 million and I've spent less than 150,000 in ads. So this is not theory. This is what I've done. Because if you ask my colleagues how much they spend in ads to make $4 million, a lot of them would be happy with 2x return, which would be 2 million, spend $2 million to make 4 million. Most of us would probably still make that deal, but how would you rather spend less than 200,000 to make 4 million, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So that's the principle that I need you guys to understand, is that at any given time, there's 2 to 3% of your audience ready to buy right now, and 97 to 98% who are not, okay? Now, my ecosystem is made of 3 parts. One is a gateway goodwill video. The second is the conveyor belt. And then third is conversation content. Now we're going to talk about this sequence here today, but I want to show you guys what this actually looks like, okay? So we're trying to constantly chase those 2 to 3% of people who are ready to buy right now, right? Everyone agree to that? Cool. These 97 to 98% have the same problems as these 2 to 3% of people. They just need to be sold a little bit longer, right? Because I told you, remember, the conversions haven't gone down. Conversions now are just taking longer for people to decide to buy. So what we're going to do is we're going to take advantage of these 97 to 98% of people. But what I want to make absolutely clear is we still are running a funnel if we need to. But by the end of this training, you might decide that, you know what, I don't freaking need my funnel. Okay? But I want to make that absolutely clear. What we're doing is not abandoning our lead gen. We're going to build around it. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start. And right now, I want everyone to think about, what are the main 3 very specific problems that your audience deals with, your ideal clients. So for me, my ideal clients are people who are running a direct response funnel, some type of direct response funnel, and they're getting about 2 times their return on ad spend. That's my ideal client, right? Because if I can get someone who's already running a funnel and I put my ecosystem in place, I can get phenomenal results for them. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you guys a little story. So my mentor and I, Nick Peterson, we run a mastermind called the Success Circle. I don't know if any of my Success Circle members are here on this call today, but something really freaking cool happened. So one of my Success Circle members yesterday, in the middle of me and Nick teaching a master class, he was like, hey, could I just tell Laurel something? And I was like, of course. He's like, Laurel, we literally just did the sequence that we're going to talk about today, right? I'm going to show you guys what this is. It used to be called the Hot 7. So he's like, I did your Hot 7. We got 10,000 return on ad spend, 10,000x. I was like, whoa, that sounds really out there. And he's like, no, here's what I did. He's like, our client has been running a direct response funnel doing 0 retargeting. I literally did the videos. And so this is what I did for this client. Instead of having this client start from scratch, I was like, give me the link to your client's YouTube channel. I went on the client's YouTube channel and I picked the pieces of content that would fit the best right here. And I was like, download these YouTube videos, launch them in Ads Manager, and run them to the people who've already gone through your funnel. 10,000x return within the first week. So there's a lot of you guys who are sitting on a lot of money. Okay. Now, I need to say results aren't typical, right? Because here's the thing, but I say that because those are my ideal clients. If I can get someone who's already getting a return on their ad spend, it's easy for me to get results. So those are why they're my ideal clients. Does that mean that any of you other people sitting in this room aren't my ideal clients? Not at all. Those are just the clients that are the easiest to get results for. So what I like to do is I like to build out 3 specific videos that solve the problems of my ideal client. So instead of just running cold traffic to a funnel, We're also going to run cold traffic to these gateway video goodwill videos. Why do we do that? Well, we're going to try to get that 97 to 98% of people who are our ideal client. Now, here's the deal. You need to make sure that these videos are attractive to only your ideal clients and repelling to everyone else, right? Now, if you don't know how to do that inside the program, I've got an entire workshop on creating content, especially for these power content videos. But for the sake of this lesson, let's just say that this video talks about how to get 30% of people on a sales call to convert. Let's say this video is how to get more people to push play on your webinar. And let's just say that this video is the $5 ad that will revive any dead webinar funnel. Okay. Very specific, right? Notice how specific I'm getting. Webinar funnel, 2x return. I'm using language that would be attractive to only my ideal clients. I'm not saying I'm going to teach you how to launch an ad. I'm not going to show you how to fix your ad. I'm going to show you how to revive a dead webinar funnel with a $5 ad. I'm going to show you how to get 20 to 30% of people you get on the phone to close. I'm going to show you how to get more views on your webinar. Okay? Very, very specific. Now, once people watch 25% or more, we're going to add them to our warm stack. Who else are we going to add to the warm stack? Well, we're going to add the people who engaged with our funnel. Okay. Now, once they are in our warm stack, we're going to pop them onto the conveyor belt. Now, remember, on this side, these people are not ready to buy. And on this side, these people are ready to buy. Okay. So this is where we're trying to get them. We're trying to get them happy, right? So what we're going to do is we're not going to recreate, we're not going to reinvent the wheel. Okay. So these videos up here, our power content, we're going to make them very actionable, right? Because these need to be 3 to 5 minutes. So we need to make sure that we're getting our point across fast. What I have found that works the best is just teaching people how to solve a problem, right? Here's how to revive a dead webinar funnel, right? If I do this, here's how to revive a dead webinar funnel using a $5 ad. Here's how to get more people to watch your webinar the entire way. Here's how to get 20 to 30% of people on a sales call to close. Everyone with me so far? Let me know you guys are still alive in the chat. I know a lot of you guys are probably taking notes. I see David with the thumbs up. I appreciate that, right? Everyone's still with me, right? Probably some of you guys have already had a light bulb moment. I love that. Okay, cool. Awesome. I was like, man, are you guys sleeping? Do we need to do some shots or what? We need to wake you guys up. It's yeah, awesome. Cool. Everyone's with me. Cool. So we're not going to reinvent the wheel whenever we're going to do this conveyor belt. Now, the conveyor belt is built to nurture, right? Because remember at the beginning of this training, I told you guys that the conversions haven't gone down. Conversions are just taking longer. 62 to 67 days, right? Well, Google, I'm not just throwing those numbers out of the top of my head. Google actually did a study after millions of data points on its buyers, okay? It determined that people bought after consuming 7 hours of consuming content, 11 different touch points across YouTube, email, all of these different things across 4 different platforms. What the conveyor belt's job is to get these touch points. But don't worry, we're not going to recreate anything. I'm simply going to take these 3 topics and we're going to reinvent these videos, because here's the thing. People consume content through 4 different lenses, and these power content videos are only giving them one lens. That is the actionable lens, right? The how-to videos, right? You ever hear a guru say how-to videos don't work? Yeah, you got to do other kinds. How-to videos work, but humans consume information through 4 different lenses. And so if you're only doing how-to videos, you're missing and you're isolating only 25% of your audience and missing 75%. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these same content pieces and we're going to rerun them through a different lens. Next, we're going to run them through an analytical lens, meaning I'm going to take these numbers right here This video was how a $5 ad revives a dead webinar. I'm going to pull all of the analytical data from this video, and I'm going to create a video that just walks through the data, right? I'm going to take that same video, I'm going to tell the story, aspirational, okay? I'm going to take that same video and I'm going to talk about the anthropological, okay? Now, anthropological is based on human behavior, right? So I might do a video about how humans behave wildly when they're spending a lot of money on a webinar funnel and they will never get it to convert because they can't control their own restraint. Same video topic, but I'm telling it through a different lens. I'm telling it through a human behavior lens. I might tell it through a client story. Let's say I tell the story of David, right? I could say, you know, David came to me, he had a webinar, it wasn't converting. And then I showed him that he didn't have to spend $10,000 a month anymore on a webinar. I showed him how to do a simple $5 ad and David launched it and blah, 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 right? Or I could go through the numbers. So let's just say these are all videos, right? So now instead of one content piece, I've got 4. But guys, we picked 3 problems. So now instead of 4 videos, we've got 12, right? Because we did all of the lenses for this video, all of the lenses for this one, and all the lenses for this. We'll do something else, right? Because here's the thing. Humans consume content in different formats. We'll take this same analytical video and maybe we'll do a long form written post. Maybe we'll do, I'm going to draw a little podcast mic. It didn't come out too good. Maybe I'll do a podcast episode, throw that on the conveyor belt, right? I might throw this video on YouTube and boost it using Facebook ads. I'm cross-pollinating my audience. You might be a guest on someone else's podcast telling your own story. That's aspirational. Pop it on the conveyor belt. People ask me all the time, Laurel, why are you running ads to Joel Irway's YouTube channel? Because he's freaking bragging about how I cracked the code on his low ticket power offer. It's telling the story of how I used my ad strategy to make him a shit ton of money, right? And so people are along, right? We get them on the conveyor belt. They're sad. They're not where they want to go, but they've identified that they've watched one of these videos or they visited our funnel. So we pop them on the conveyor belt and we're moving them along. But here's the thing, okay? So let's summarize what we've done is we've created some goodwill videos that are 3 to 5 minutes long that are very actionable. And we picked 3 problems, very specific problems, right? Then, as soon as they've indicated that they're interested, and that's why it's important that these are 3 to 5 minute videos. Someone's not interested if they watch 10 seconds or 15 seconds. We need to make sure they're watching 25% of at least a 3-minute video, okay? So now they've qualified, they've ended up in our warm stack, and now they're moving along the conveyor belt. We're giving them audio. Now, if you don't have a podcast, don't worry about it. It doesn't matter, right? You can do all video. I'm huge on video. But I started doing a lot of written posts because I know that you guys, some of you guys like to read, right? I know that some of you guys like human behavior type stuff. Like that's the type of content. Here's the thing. You need to make separate videos for each of those 4 lenses because if I'm someone who's very analytical, which by the way, I am, I love looking at numbers and I love how-to videos. I will not sit through your anthropological crap to get the information that I want out of your video, right? Just because like you guys won't probably sit through my analytical crap if you like storytelling. And so that's why we need to tell the same topic through not only different lenses, but through different formats. Everyone's still with me so far. Everyone could see how this is going to work out really fucking well, right? Awesome. And I see a really great question. I'm going to go back to it here in a minute. Let me drive this one point home. So people are moving along the conveyor belt, right? Their first touch point with cold traffic was either through the funnel or through the goodwill videos, right? We've got them on the conveyor belt. Now they're watching the stories, right? Maybe they watched a case study. Maybe they watched a testimonial video. Maybe they've seen a long form post of me breaking down the numbers. Maybe they heard me on someone's podcast talking about how my 3 rules of learning, right? Who knows, right? So yeah, so we can use still photos, right? That goes with the long form posts. We could do video content. We can get people. Now, here's the thing. The call to action for the conveyor belt content could be one of three things. One, it could be all value, no CTA. Two, it could be a value bomb CTA, which is an indirect offer. Or three, it could be a clear purchase my thing, book a call. Okay, so you got three different choices. You can give all value, no CTA, put some goodwill in. Two, you can have them comment for a value bomb, which is an indirect offer. Or three, you can make them a direct offer for them to book a call or to purchase something from you, right? Because remember, these 2 to 3% of people are ending up in your conveyor belt. So you might end up with these 2 to 3% of people who are ready to buy right now. So we're giving them an opportunity to buy. But here's the thing. When people have seen the numbers, they've heard the stories, they understand human behavior, something happens and humans just stop. Because here's the truth, guys, is no matter how unique you think your offer is, your ideal clients have likely already invested in someone else before you. If you have a high ticket offer, someone's probably already paid another high ticket coach. They've at least bought a low ticket offer, but they are like, whoa, wait a minute. Last time I bought this, it didn't work. So what our job is to do is to make them understand why this time will be different. And one of the best ways to help people understand this is through conversations. And so that is why the last two campaigns in my ecosystem both get people into conversations. One in a frictionless way and one in a more friction way. These are your DM funnels, your fast funnel. People click for your value bomb, boom, they're having a direct conversation with you, right? The other way is maybe through a Zoom or a phone call. Or this could even be a live group workshop, right? Like what we're doing right now. But we're getting them to have a conversation with us, right? Like we're going to sit and talk and have conversations at this. Does that make sense? Everyone with me? We need to prove why this time will be different, okay? Now, we're going to do the same thing. We're not going to recreate the wheel. So check this out, okay? When people get towards the end of buying, what happens? They're thinking, why will this time be different? There's two barriers that we need to get through. The first barrier is something you guys are familiar with, objections, right? There's time, money, effort, and sacrifice, right? The other thing that no one ever talks about, and if you've read The Fusion of Innovation, I'm so sorry, that is one of the most boring ass books, but my mentor Nick made me read it, and I learned this, and I learned this really well. It's not just about objections, it's about getting them to adopt our mechanism. So they've got adoption decisions. And there are 5 of them. 1, relative advantage. How is this better than what I'm currently doing? 2, trial ability. SaaS companies are really good at this. Can I try it before I buy it? Strategy calls are try it before you buy it, right? 3, observability. How could I watch someone else go through this process? Case studies are really good for that, right? 4, complexity. How hard is this? And 5, compatibility. Compatibility. One of the very first things that I said when you guys got on this call was, let me clear up a misconception. Because a lot of times people think that this replaces a funnel. It's built around the funnel. It is compatible with a funnel. So I was proving that this system is compatible with what you're already doing. So now remember, we have all of our pieces of content, right? We started off with 3 pieces of power content. We ran them through the 4 lenses, right? The 4A lenses. We're going to take those same 3 pieces of power content. Now we're going to reframe them to meet a time objection. We're going to take this same video and rerun it through how do I beat a money objection. We're going to take this same video, run it through an effort objection. We're going to take the same video, sacrifice, same video, this. So one video at this is 9 different videos plus 4 at the other. We're talking 13 different videos times 3 different formats, audio, video. We're talking about a shit ton of content where we literally just started with 3 pieces in the beginning. We're telling people how we're solving problems that they have in 13 different ways across 3 different formats. Right? So here's the thing. I'm going to answer this question because it goes exactly with what I've just talked about. How do you know someone is down the funnel enough to give them the green light in sequence? You don't. The content is there because remember, at the same time, we're also showing this to the 2 to 3% of people who are ready to buy right now. I'm going to ask you guys a question. Okay, I'm going to go all the way down here. I'm going to get a fresh thing. If we've got this conveyor belt and we put one person here, they're sad, right? What happens? What's magic that happens? A lot of you guys should know this by now. I've asked this question a lot on the last couple of trainings. What is the magic that happens when this person, this first person that you put on the conveyor belt gets to the end? Time and trust? Yes, but something way more important. Raphael, you're my rock star. There are a shit ton of people behind them that are going to buy. When this person gets here, 24/7, you have people who are ready to buy at any given time. A lot of people ask me the question, Laurel, how do you get 60% of people to show up on a webinar? Here we go. How do you get people to buy your high ticket stuff in Messenger without a sales call? What I just showed you guys. You guys understand this now? I have a conveyor belt of people who are ready to buy. The compound effect. Sabrina, you freaking nailed it. The compound effect. I have been doing this same strategy for 7 years. I'm looking at a couple of people. Erica Leary, you've seen me do this for 7 years. I have never changed my strategy, ever, not once. Now, let me ask you guys an important question. How many of you guys don't feel like you need a physical funnel anymore? Do you think the conveyor belt could work without a funnel? Hell yeah, it can. So when people ask me, Laurel, how did you only spend $150,000, make several million dollars? You're looking at it right here. And a lot of freaking patience. Because here's the thing, so many people are chasing those 2 to 3%. That's why ad costs are going up. My ad costs have not gone up, guys. My ad costs have gone down. My cost per purchase on my $7 program is super low. I am actually profitable on a $7 offer front end. My lifetime value, $363 per person. And I'm spending less than $7 to acquire a customer. This is the power of this conveyor belt. But here's the thing, a lot of you guys are not giving this enough time. You're wanting to stop. You're like, well, I ran your ads for 30 days. I'm like, 30 days, that's nothing. That's not even enough to get data. And this is why I always tell people, like, if you're going to invest in marketing, like, you got to go all in. Like, you got to learn marketing. You can't learn all these tactics. Because here's the thing, even if Facebook ads go away, I will be fine because I understand this. And by the way, this whole conveyor belt thing, This isn't something that like I quote invented. Like if we go back to the early 2000s when I started my job in television, 2002, I'm about to age myself. In 2002, I started working in television. And this is a strategy that has lasted for centuries. You see a commercial on television, you get coupons in the mail, you start seeing billboards, you start seeing radio, you start hearing radio commercials. You have meet and greets in public. You've got billboards and bus stops and taxis with advertising, right? This is a strategy that has been working for centuries, guys. This isn't something that I just designed for social media. And if you understand, right, let me ask you a question. Do you think any of the commercials that I made, like for an accident attorney, do you think any accident attorney ever busted into my edit bay and demanded to know what commercial led to that client he just got off the phone with? No. He just knows his marketing is working. That's why I designed this system. I'm a lazy marketer. My students who work really closely with me, they know I don't look at my ad. They know I don't look at my ads manager. I maybe look at it once or twice a month because the more I look at my ads manager, the worse my ads do because I want to tinker with it. And ads, Facebook ads are going to do this, especially those offer funnels. You're going to get 10 sales one day, one sale the next day, right? You think something's wrong when you're only getting one sale the next day, but that's just how Facebook is. That's how YouTube is. LinkedIn's even worse, right? So you would never, Kaya just asked a really great question. You would never fucking skip the conveyor belt. Why are you wanting to skip the conveyor belt? And I'm being dramatic right there whenever I said that because I want you guys to really fucking understand this. If you don't have the conveyor belt, how the fuck are you going to get someone from point A to point B if you skip the conveyor belt? And I'm being dramatic for a reason right there because so many of my students, and you want to know the reason why I started teaching it as the conveyor belt? I used to teach it as boosted posts, which I still do. The reason that I created the conveyor belt is because most of my students thought, oh, boosted post, that's optional. I'm like, that's the most fucking important part of the entire thing that ties everything together. If you don't have the conveyor belt in place, you're not going to have the nurture. You're just going to keep showing the same fucking ad to people over and over again. Does that make sense? Your conveyor belt is what's going to give people fresh content from you every single week. That makes sense? There's 3 different parts to my and guys, you need every part of this. I get the question all the time, well, what part can I skip ahead to the program? No, you got to fucking do the whole thing. Do you guys want to fucking win or do you want to keep fucking losing? Because I'm pretty sure no one wants to keep fucking losing, right? I'm being dramatic because Facebook ads are going up. You guys have already seen. You can't even spend less than $3 on an ad anymore. But guess what? For those of you guys who've been listening to me, you're still spending $1 a day, right? Aren't you? Because your ads are just in the ads manager just running because you listen to me. Anyone who didn't start running ads, well, bad news, you got to pay $3 a day now instead of $1 a day. I'm just spicy online. I swear I'm like the nicest person you'll ever meet in real life. I do it for my students will tell you I do this for dramatic effect because I really want to drive home a point because I do care about every single person in this room. Because I want us all to win. I want the bro marketers to fucking lose and go away. Because they're giving a lot of people a lot of unneeded stress. Ads should be really easy. As a matter of fact, guys, ads are the easiest part of this entire process. The hard part is optimizing an offer. Because most of you guys in this room, once you have this in place, you're going to start to see the holes in your actual funnel. And that's the part that's really hard to fix. But here's the thing. I did a video yesterday about how I help someone fix their webinar funnel. What this conveyor belt also does is give you validated content that you know your audience will want for a very low cost, right? Because let's say you put a value bomb together and you get like 1,000 people that ask for it in the first 90 days. You can put that value bomb in a funnel and use it as a lead magnet. It's already been proven. No wasted money. You've already proven it. If you put out power content to cold traffic and power content to warm traffic, and you're already clear and you're watching your metrics and you know what problems your audience wants help solving, what do you think you're going to put in your VSL in your webinar? Proven, validated content that you know for sure that your people want. And so anytime I have a client that comes to me with a broken webinar or a broken VSL, the first thing I do is let's get some power content running ASAP so that we can actually see what your audience cares about. Because a lot of people build the funnels first. So you can build a funnel, but once I show my students this, they're like, I love the volume of conversations that I have. Like I've got students who are just running power content and the conveyor belt. That's it. Power content and the conveyor belt and making $50,000, $60,000 a month just with that. That's how powerful it is. Yeah, so Mahesh just says, how do you decide to replace one of the conveyor belt? You don't, because the conveyor belt, remember, they're boosted posts. So the only difference between a boosted post and an ad is a boosted post expires after however many days you set it to. So that's why I like the conveyor belt content as boosted post, because if I boost it, I know Facebook's going to stop running it after 3 days, right? But here's the thing, you don't have to do it as boosted post. You can do it inside the ads manager, set it at $95 for 90 days and just let it run for 90 days. Don't get lost in the tactical things. I show you guys this as a principle and as a strategy. You can run the ads however you want, just run them all. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't care if you want to put an analytical video as your power content, cool, doesn't matter. Like what I did was, and so by the way, like the sequence that we're talking about today, I renamed it the green light sequence. Now you guys know why I called it the green light sequence. It's giving people the go ahead to actually buy what you're selling. And now you can see why it's no longer called the hot 7, because there's more than 7 pieces of content here. There's 9 with just one video, right? There's the 4 objections and the 5 adoption decisions. So we end up with way more than 7 pieces of content. So that's why I like to call it the green light sequence. It's just part of the conversation content, right? It gives people the green light to go ahead and work with you. You have just proven why this time will be different. So David just asked a really great question. And I saw your question a while ago, David, and I'll answer that one too. So David just asked, do we care about CTR all data to learn what content resonates? Absolutely. Like if there's one metric that I will look at, because honestly, I don't like looking at metrics when it's retargeting, because I look at each of them as like breadcrumbs, right? Because let's say I see an ad for David's challenge, right? His 6-week challenge. And I'm like, I see challenges from every fitness expert, right? And then I see a story that he's written out about someone in Biloxi getting results. I'm like, oh, I live in Biloxi. Oh, David's in Biloxi. Oh, that's cool. And then David pops up in my Instagram reels with a freebie. I'm like, oh, I'll get his diet plan. I'm a busy professional. I resonate with this. And then I see 21 more ads from David. And then I finally book a call with David. Which one of those ads worked? They all did. But which one is Facebook going to tell you worked? Only the last one. All of the other ads, Facebook's going to make you think that they didn't work and you're going to turn them off. But they all work together. And that's why I really don't look at any metric other than what David said, CTR all. That is the thumb stop, right? Because if people are seeing our content, that's all that matters to me. Let me see. Let me scroll back up, David. I know you asked a really great question a while ago. And by the way, you know what? I'm just going to, you know what I'm going to do? I am just going to, let's see. I'm just going to let you guys unmute yourself. David, just unmute yourself instead of me having to scroll through all the questions. What was that first question you asked earlier?
I'm running videos. I've got video testimonials of my clients, 3 to 5 minutes, and it's of them, of their journey experience, asking them some questions, and they're performing really good from a power content mixed in with 1 or 2 of me, explaining about my program. But now I'm adding on the conveyor belt sequence here. So like I can just basically in my own words and voice and post talk about each one of those testimonials, and those are all separate little of like how they got X, Y, and Z results, right? Doing, what wasn't working and what did work, and then I can use that content for conveyor belt, right?
100%. Yep. It'll fit on the conveyor belt, right? And then you
Per-
can turn around and be like, okay, cool. What were some of the objections that this person had? And then you could literally go and do another video talking about, like, this person didn't think they had time to do it and blah, blah, blah. And then boom, it's a green light sequence video.
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah, because like and this is one of the things too about like getting your feedback, right? Like I love the feedback that you guys give me. Like if Erica would have told you how complicated my ecosystem was 7 years ago when I first started teaching the ecosystem, it was way more complicated than the way that I teach it now. And it's just evolving because like at the end of the day, here's one thing that I've learned. Here's one thing that I've learned is if you literally just put out a good piece of content and just retarget everyone who's watched that good piece of content, you're going to win. That's what I've learned over the last couple of years. If you just stay in front of people, like people think I'm good at ads. I'm not good at ads, guys. I'm really good at putting out content because my days in television. I bet you there are at least half of you guys who are sitting in this room right now that could push the buttons in Ads Manager better than I can. I don't know how to do attribution settings. I don't know how to do, I don't know any of that crap that all these people talk about. I'm like, I don't know. I just look at my Ads Manager and I make money. I don't know. Like, I don't know how to do automatic bid. Like I do automatic bidding. I don't know how to do manual bid, all that stuff that everyone thinks that matters. It really doesn't. Everyone fights over whether Hyros is the better tracking and all that stuff. I just look at my Facebook Ads Manager. I don't even have the CAPI, the conversions API installed. Don't have any of the things installed that everyone says, oh, you have to do this. And yet I'm doing better than most people running ads. Why? Because I understand what I just showed you guys. Does that make sense? Or am I just talking gibberish? Because that is quite possible too. There's no reason that you guys should listen to me at all. Isn't that what Frank Kern says? There's no reason that anyone should take my advice. Let's see. Kaya says, so apparently I misunderstood the response on Ask Laurel to proceed to the conversation content. Goodwill power content pieces did really well, so I proceeded to conversion content. Yeah, if you're not getting messages, that's okay. People might not trust you enough to have a conversation with you. That's all right. The conveyor belt is going to lead them to having a conversation. Yeah, so Anna just asked a really great question. Laurel, what are examples of adoption decision videos? Yeah, so you've got which one? Relative advantage, right? How is this better than what I'm doing right now? Um, this masterclass is an example of relative advantage, right? How many of you guys are just running a funnel and not running the ecosystem? That's relative advantage. How is this better than what I'm doing right now? So if I did a video on why running the conveyor belt gets better results than running a webinar funnel, that would be an example of relative advantage. Then I could do the same video if I looked at trialability. Can you try it before you buy it? Cool. How about we hop on Zoom and I place a couple of your ads and then you let me know in a couple of days how they're doing? Trialability, observability. How could I see someone else go through the process? Cool. Erica, why don't we like hop on a live Zoom call and let everyone watch how I write all of your ecosystem content? Observability. Compatibility. I started off this Zoom call by proving that this is compatible no matter what type of offer you have. Whether you e-commerce, brick and mortar, it doesn't matter. Compatibility. Complexity. How easy is this to run? I think I proved that too. I just throw shit in the ads manager, just let it run. It's not complicated at all. As a matter of fact, two of my Lean on Laurel students have their 8 and 10-year-olds running their ads for them. The 8 and 10-year-olds just watch my Loom videos and just set up their parents' ads. They don't know why they're pushing the buttons. They're just following my instructions on a Loom video. They don't understand why they're pushing buttons. They're just doing it. That's the easiest part, is pushing the buttons. Ray
Oh,
says this is the fourth time he's watched me do this and finally got it. Give all of yourselves some grace, because I've been marketing since 2002. That's 23 years. 23 years of doing advertising. And you guys are, some of you guys have been doing it for less than a year. Give yourself some grace. Just keep showing up to these classes. It's only $7 a month. And I promise, if you guys stick with me, it doesn't matter if you, whatever, being in my program will make any program that you do more valuable, because I will teach you guys the proper way to learn. I will teach you guys how to engage the field, read the data. So you will leave my program being able to go and do any other program and get better results because you are in this program first. Stefan.
You're the woman.
Oh, thank you.
Anyways, so just a lot of stuff just really stuck out to me. So the Goodwill content. So I have some power content that's really short, a minute and a half, 2 minutes, because I know people's attention spans are, not what they used to be. And I'm getting good KPIs. The hold rate and the 25% views are like 2 cents, 1 cent. So they're doing really well. But number one, you just said if it's not 3 to 5 minutes, they're not paying attention. So it doesn't need to be longer.
3 to 5 minutes is fine.
So
I
less than
like
that
that
is not good.
for cold traffic, right?
Yeah.
3 to 5 minutes for cold traffic. For warm traffic, I will sit there and do 45-minute videos on Instagram and people watch them.
Okay. But for cold, they shouldn't be less than 3 minutes.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
Unless you're like brick and mortar, brick
No,
and
no.
mortar in e-commerce, you guys can do 60-second videos, but all of the rest of us need to do 3 to 5 minute videos.
Okay.
Yep. So David says, ideally 1 to 7 ads boosted for engagement on my ad for the conveyor belt at any given time. Yeah, I would do that. And that's why, like, I always tell people loosely, even if you do 1 or 2 new pieces of content a week on the conveyor belt and boost it, that's going to be enough. But if you're like me and you like to do something every day and boost it, that's the way that I do it. So I'm going to grab Oscar and then Jasper. We're going to meet Momentum members. We're all going to meet. And I know, Jasper, you're in Momentum. We're going to meet on the other Zoom after I grab Oscar. If you guys want to join us on that other Zoom and you're not in Momentum, by the way, the $200 a month price is about to go away for anyone new coming in. But if you're already in Momentum at $200 a month, you're good. Nothing's going to change for you. But we're almost at capacity. Once we hit capacity, I'm just doing yearly at $2,000 a year. So just so you guys know, this is the last chance to get it at 200 a month, only because like of exactly what I explained today, right? You never want a fragmented version. And I find that my students who have the most success are with me for a year to learn this stuff. And Erica knows it. Erica's at Lean on Laurel at the very first price. Y'all would all kill to be in Lean on Laurel at Erica's price. Erica's in Lean on Laurel for $197 a month because she's been with me since the beginning. So if any of you guys know, I always grandfather my early adopters in at those prices. So if you want in on Momentum at the lower price, what is it? adswithlaurel.com/momentum. Go in. You're instantly going to get access to me, Nick, and Brandon's platform called the Success Finder. And you're going to get instant access to the Google Calendar. Join us on the other Zoom if you guys want in. We got an ads blitz coming up in the Momentum program too. We're going to be doing hooks for 2 days. I'm gonna show you guys how to write sexy ass hooks for 2 days in Momentum. So but anyway, Oscar and then Jasper will meet on the other Zoom and then I'll get you first. How about that?
Laurel, random question, and thank you for the ecosystem. I get what you're doing overall. If I wanted to run a live master class in a local city, and let's just say I wanted to do it on July 15th at the local library, like when would you start running ads to try to fill that event? I'm just curious.
As soon as possible, right? Because once you get the conveyor belt up, so I'll give you an example, right? Your live event becomes the funnel, right? Remember at the beginning I said you have the ecosystem and then you have the funnel. So here in
Yeah.
Biloxi, I do local events for the chamber. And so I run my entire ads ecosystem here in Biloxi so that when I do have those events, I just retarget all the people that are watching all of my content.
Cool.
It
Awesome.
compounds. It just compounds over time. Like I am so jealous of a lot of people who have local brick and mortar businesses. Like almost want to start a brick and mortar business so I could run my ecosystem because it's so freaking easy. You could become the go-to with like $500 a month in ads. Like think about it. You could be the go-to in your area. Super freaking easy.
So in effect, you would do the events as the funnel, and then the ecosystem's just feeding the funnel.
Yeah. And if you ever do like little low ticket offers or whatever, run them on the conveyor belt.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Jasper, I will see you on the other link in Momentum, as well as my Momentum people and my LOL people. But if you guys want in on momentum, I would love to have you. The calls are super small. I've capped it very small. All of my momentum members will tell you this. The calls are super small for right now, and I'm going to keep it that way. That's why it's going to go on a wait list here soon. But once it goes on the wait list, the price goes to $2,000 for the year. But yeah, I'll see you guys on the other Zoom link, and I'll see the rest of you guys inside the Facebook group. Love you all.